My first thought to anything that happens with something like this is why civil? Like whether it's when it happens in NFL, when it happens in NBA, when the women come out, I'm like, why civil?
I think that there is that level of trauma that you don't want to, you don't want to relive it. You don't want to talk about it because sometimes, you feel a level of shame, right? Like it's your fault.
13 years old, like they might not even know how to process what the hell just happened.
Right.
And they don't necessarily want to run and tell their parents because they don't understand what happened. Like really what happened.
Right.
And they're going to be like, they're not going to go tell their parents right away. They're going to just try and hide it and whatever. And then then now years pass and whatever, and now you're in a whole different situation. I think everybody does what people say they do.
Yeah.
I just really do. If there's smoke, there's fire. Like you're just not, It just
so you think it's something to this?
It doesn't come out of nowhere.
Now, my first thought to anything that happens with something like this is why civil? Like whether it's when it happens in NFL, when it happens in NBA, when the women come out, I'm like, why civil? This is such heinous.
The statute of limitations has expired on.
It could. I don't know the statute of limitations in this situation, but again, I mean, there's always the question: why wasn't this brought up when it happened? Yeah, and I get that, and and there's other people on the other side of this that that they'll say, when you're traumatized by these types of events, that you're not comfortable, you try to suppress.
As
it
a woman,
mentally,
is that valid? Well, I guess you can't speak for every woman on the planet, but I'm just asking.
I think that there is that level of trauma that you don't want to. You don't want to relive it. You don't want to talk about it because sometimes, you feel a level of shame, right? Like it's your fault. So it just depends on, especially when it's sexual battery. Unless it's like some random person hitting you over the head. If it's someone or someone that you met and that happens, there's a lot of other feelings of shame and guilt. Like maybe I caused that. And so you're not necessarily going to go to a police officer or you won't want to report it.
And again,
in this
go
particular
to somebody
case, a 13-year-old girl,
this age group,
her parents had to have known about
not
this.
necessarily. That's what I'm like. So I think I was going to go next level. If you're like whatever 18 to 24 whatever, and something happens to you, you're kind of processing it like individually. You're kind of also in that place where and everybody's relationship with their parents isn't the same, but like you're kind of like an adult and you're kind of not sharing every bit of your life with your parents, and you're kind of isolated in a way. But the same, like when you're talking about this young age category, 13 years old, like they might not even know how to process what the hell just happened.
Right.
And they don't necessarily want to run and tell their parents because they don't understand what happened. Like really what happened.
Right.
And they're going to be like, they're not going to go tell their parents right away. They're going to just try and hide it and whatever. And then then now years pass and whatever, and now you're in a whole different situation. But I mean, that's I don't know. I mean, I would be curious to see, like, of the total amount of sexual assaults across genders, across age groups, like how many people really like immediately have the urge to report or even tell somebody?
Yeah.
Even like a friend or family member. Or is there typically and I don't know the stats, but I would be curious if the stats support an idea that like there's almost always a period of just like processing that's not where you're just running to either authorities or family or friends or anybody to discuss it.
And that's the gap that I have because I just don't understand that.
Yeah.
But along these lines, I mean, we know that they were fucking around with 15-year-olds, so 13
Not particular Jay-Z. Not particularly Jay-Z.
Didn't he hang out with Aaliyah too? Didn't he hit that?
He was in the mix.
Not like hit, like reportedly, but yeah, he music wise and all of that stuff. But it was
Like
that was R.
R.
Kelly. That was R. Kelly with Aaliyah.
But I read something that he was.
Yeah. There's always been rumors about him with her,
with Rihanna.
Yeah.
And Rihanna
when she was
and
she
it
was
was
young.
another. Yeah.
So I mean, there may be some truth to that.
I mean, I hate to say this.
I don't know about the raping, I mean, but it is
You have
sexual assault. So
you have
right, it was a
consensual sex with
13-year-old.
13-year-olds? Is that where we're at now?
No, I'm not saying that. But I mean,
maybe in
like
your house.
raping, it's like sensationalizes it, right? It's a sexual battery. I totally agree with that.
Right.
Yeah.
But I don't think that that's far-fetched.
That's
given the fact that they're all, they all were hanging out together.
All these dudes were moving around in the same circle.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have remained essentially close from what we can see.
Right.
Again, I would kind of ask the question, like if you have a close friend who you become aware is doing really fucked up shit, like, would you not create some space?
I would. Well, yeah. I would definitely create some space.
I mean, if they're just into
I just
some
want
shit
that
that you're
shit to
just
get on me,
not
right.
comfortable with at all, it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna hang with that person.
But you know that eventually you're gonna become president of the United States, so why would you want it? No, I'm just kidding.
But you know what a lot of these guys are saying, including Jamie Foxx in the special, what everybody is saying. Oh, yeah, I went to a dating party too, but I left way before anything.
Oh, for sure. Yeah,
crazy with
everybody
that. I
left,
never was around.
Yeah,
with it.
yeah,
I'd never seen anything crazy. That's what literally 100% of these guys are saying.
Right. And 100% of these people did not do that.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way. There's
People were at the party.
That's what I'm saying. There's probably some people that did that had kind of like a discipline about themselves. I think there's probably a lot more people that might have stayed for a night or two. And to their credit, maybe they like
just watched.
I ain't going back to that. Like that's not me.
Yeah, because I it's a guy in the city. He throws parties, right? And because I could see the setup, because it's like, yeah, it's a normal party, everybody comes, has a good time, and then there's a select group that stays for like that, and there's
the after hours.
There's like strippers and things like that, and we have a good time. Well, I was only there for a time or two, but that happens, right? There's like an after party after the after party, and
yeah, no, for sure. That's definitely the thing.
But you would think like these guys were reportedly like together all the time. The Jay-Z, the Diddy's,
that's
the
like
Meeks and,
to me that's the thing. There's no way you're around these guys and in this setting for a long time and you don't become aware.
Yeah, especially if you call a guy a friend.
That's what I'm saying.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. And it's not like they've had some falling out. Like
right.
I could
He's
see.
He's been really, really quiet.
Super
Jay-Z.
quiet. Yeah.
Jay-Z has
super
been unusually
quiet.
silent
and that's,
on everything.
Yeah. And again, like with other people in other situations, he's kind of like been supportive or picked a side or maybe tried to help with some legal fees or whatever.
Right.
He has literally sat this thing out.
Yeah.
Until now it's like coming at him.
Yeah, he even jumped in the Megan Thee Stallion Tory thing.
Right,
yeah,
right.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I just really I find this entirely believable. This doesn't surprise me in any way. Yeah, and again with the Aaliyah thing. Like all these dudes were around Aaliyah. They knew how old she was. They
Chris
knew
is saying
somebody was fucking her.
By the time Jay-Z got with her, she was of age. That's,
Whatever.
Okay.
She was also rode hard and put up wet at that point. It is what it is.
I never heard that term.
Me either.
I love that term. but that's the thing, It's like you're again like okay, because Dame Dash fucked her, right?
I'm not sure. I mean,
I'm sure.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they broke.
So yeah, and then like you knew she's out there banging dudes in your industry. Like, oh, I'm gonna wait another 6 months and it'll be all good. Like, dude, like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Like, what's going on.
Yeah. But now he did respond to this.
Yeah.
And basically was just like, these are really heinous crimes. Why civil? So I'm sure he's going to fight it.
Dared her to, or dared
it was
the
something like
person
that.
to go.
Oh, I mean,
they were talking about the lawyer. That the lawyer is like some.
The lawyer,
he
hunts down celebrities.
Yeah, Busby. Yeah, he's the same guy with Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
But so going back to the criminal civil thing too. I mean, there is something there. It's definitely because again, if something happened, the best time to investigate it and whatever is as soon as possible to the time that it occurred, because you have the best opportunity for physical evidence. You have the best opportunity for corroboration and evidence of people who may have seen something and could testify to it with some relatively fresh recollection of the events. So that's very real. I mean, if you were to, and I know like it is traumatic, but like if you want to do things the right way, if you have had something done to you, the best thing to do is to report it. I mean, if you want to get out information and help people, that's what you need to encourage people to do.
Along those same lines, when it comes to sexual assault, a lot of times women don't even want to have a conversation with a male police officer because they're like, they hear just like in this particular case, I'm sure they probably told her, nobody's going to believe you. I'm the successful mogul and I'm the successful rapper and you're like just this 13-year-old chick that I picked up from the park. So again, they don't want to go
right off the jungle gym.
They're not necessarily
I have a
going
swing in my house.
to go in and report that. So it's like you're putting the onus on a 13-year-old girl who you just finished saying that she's not even able to process stuff. And yet you expect her to just go in and explain or tell someone how she was just violated. That's just really, really difficult to do. That's why
I'm not discounting the difficulty of doing it, but there is a reality in terms of evidence collection and proof that is compromised when you're not able to do that.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
You know what else is interesting from the lawyer standpoint? Because a lot of people, this lawyer only tracks down the celebrities and hunts down the celebrity. First of all, like. That's these celebrities, they must be doing something, man, because he has a high success rate. First of all, of successfully getting these civil claims. That's number one. Like if these people are not doing anything at all, not all of these civil claims would be becoming successful.
Well, and that's why I said at the beginning is I tend to believe that most of this stuff happens, because it's just. If you conduct yourself a certain way, like these things don't even come up. Like, ever, but if you're conducting yourself a different way, it becomes plausible. And then going back to the criminal and the civil. The criminal, you're relying on law enforcement to do a job. You're relying on a state attorney's office to have confidence that they're going to be able to prove a case. And they can be largely indifferent to both of these things. Right. And again, you look at the cops, there's plenty of low-hanging fruit. They could issue traffic citations and stuff like that rather than a case that could be difficult to prove or work up, particularly against a high-profile person. And then even at the state attorney level, who would be charged with prosecuting the crime, a lot of those people are politically bent. They want to move up that food chain, and one of the ways to do that is have a good success rate. And a lot of times, taking on a difficult case or a case that's not everything wrapped up with a bow for you, you're not going to mess with it because you could get shamed on it. And especially there's still the stigma of attacking a high profile person. At again, the peak of their powers in 2000 before anybody's really onto anything about them. Yeah. But when you go to the civil realm, it's about money. And what do all of these dudes have is plenty of money.
And they want it to go away.
And they have an interest to go away. And so if you're Tony Busby, your high success rate, you don't, if you take a case to trial, which is rare, you've just got to prove by a preponderance of the evidence, 51%, that people think this happened the way that it did, and you win. And you've got this whole thing of what celebrity, what well-moneyed person wants to be dragged through the mud with real testimony and real things. Now, in a criminal trial,
sexual,
in a criminal trial, you could choose not to testify. You could take your Fifth Amendment like she did. We all know what that means. It means you're guilty. But you could do that and not testify. But in a civil case, you can be compelled to testify and answer questions. And that can be extremely uncomfortable. And the easiest way to shut the door on that is to say, okay, what's the check?
Okay.
What are we doing?
And that's whether you did it or not.
Correct.
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to be close to it. And again, that goes a lot of ways because, maybe you absolutely did what he's claiming you did. But maybe you didn't do what he's claiming you did, but you've got enough other stuff that you've done that, it becomes collateral damage. And it's just, I don't want any of it. I don't need any of that. Because you go back to like Deshaun Watson. Like you first hear, okay, some strange encounter with a massage lady. But what ends up like that gets out and it catches wildfire. Now there's like 70 massage girls telling a story about him. Now you look super weird.
Yeah.
Like, what's up with the massages, dude?
Right.
You know, just have conventional sex. Like, you know, and like, I mean, nobody looks at him the same.
Yeah, so he probably should have just paid the first girl off instead of like
If you have that
pushing her
chance.
off to the
And
side.
they say about the Diddy thing, like they say that Cassie asked for money before the suit,
and he was
and
like,
he might have been able to head this all off right then.
Yeah.
But he kind of wanted to be a bargain shopper.
Yeah.
You know, he called the bluff on it. And she filed suit, and he caved right away. And then it was like,
It's too late.
hey, why is this guy caving? Like 30 million? Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's interesting. Well, definitely,
Did you
definitely see where
hear
they go.
along those lines? They said that Mary J. Blige was involved in some way.
What was I'm
I'm
curious about her role.
That she was, you know, I don't know.
You don't know what her
Young
role was?
boys? No, I have no idea. I was not there.
Yeah. All I know is Mary J started off as a really terrible actress, and now she's just a bad actress.
She got better.
Yeah, she got a little better.
You don't like her in what was that show?
She's awful, man.
Really?
In the Power stuff?
Power.
Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
yeah.
awful.